Hey, welcome back. If you notice I'm wearing the same shirt as in one of my previous videos, it's not because I wear shirts over and over, it's because I recorded the video on the same day as that one. If you didn't notice that, I wouldn't have either. As you know, I've been playing through some of the bots on chess.com. I started with the 1,000 bots and the 1,100 bots. Once I got to the 1,200 bots, I began making videos about them, showing how well or poorly I did against them. The next one that I played was the xQc-bot, which apparently is based on a famous streamer and gamer Overwatch player, it says. I've never heard of this person, but anyway, I played the bot and I went 8-2. As usual, I won't go through all the games. I think that would probably be ridiculous. I'm just going to move this up here. And there we go. And as usual, I let the computer choose which color I played. And this time I only got to play black 4 times and white 6 times. xQc almost always opened with e4, which I responded to with the Scandinavian defense. The one time the bot opened with d4, I played the Nimzo Indian, which I have just learned or just started learning. And with white, I always opened with d4, which we ended up going into the Queen's Gambit, declined 3 times. I managed the London system twice, and the Slav defense is what we came up with one time. I've also been tracking the number of moves versus each bot. Well, part of that is hidden. How do I fix that? I think I moved this up, don't I? There we go. Over at the right, you can see my averages against the other bots, including xQc, which was my second most number of moves. However, I started with 74 moves in the first game and slowly brought that down until there was a 69 move game, but then we came down again. So one of my goals here was to beat the bots more quickly. I noticed early on I was taking too long. Once I had a huge advantage, I was having trouble converting that advantage. That's one reason I've been keeping track of the number of moves. And I've also been keeping track of mistakes and blunders and whatnot. Here we have my blunder chart. I had the most against the first bot, Tomas, who also had the most against me. Then we came down for Maria. I came down even further against the Elena bot, went back up versus Wilson, and came back down a little bit. You can't see my circle because it's hidden behind the bots there, but I had 0.9 blunders per game average. And xQc did pretty well too, only averaging 1 blunder per game, which seems to be pretty good for these 1,200 rated bots. I'm only going to show you a couple of games here and not the entire games. This was one of the games that I lost, and here we have a relatively normal opening up until this point. This is move 7, where the bot has moved forward a pawn that wasn't quite the best move. And here's where I made my mistake. The engine is saying I should move this knight here back to f3. Now the reason I didn't is because I was afraid of this pawn pushing forward, and then I would have to move the knight again. What I didn't realize and should have is that if I come over here and this pawn pushes forward, then I can just put the knight back where it was. So I didn't do that. I brought it back down here, which is a mistake. And the reason it's a mistake is because, well, now I'm blocking in my bishop, for one thing, which delays castling. It might be a mistake for other reasons, but that's one reason I know it's a mistake. But anyway, the bot responds with its first mistake of the game, which gives the advantage back to me. Here I make the best move. Yeah, don't ignore that where it says the knight should have made the best move. I waited, and the engine says that this was best. And the bot castles, and here I make a blunder, my only blunder of the game. But my thought was, now that I've pushed this pawn forward, it's hanging, basically. I guess I didn't count right because I have quite a few pieces on that, but I thought I should just defend it one more time, which I did. Now that's a blunder because now black is coming in to attack this pawn here. And I can't castle out of that because, as again, I've blocked in my light squared bishop. And that's what happens. The knight comes down, focusing on this square. And here, my best defense is to put a bishop right there. Yes, they can take my bishop, I'll lose a piece, but I won't end up with the fork that's coming. Instead, I got the queen out of the fork. Yeah, that's ridiculous, right? I saw the fork coming, and so I'd say, you know what, I'll preemptively save my queen. But that's a mistake because they can still come. They probably should have come with the bishop first, but the bot's not perfect. But still, in here I thought, if I move my rook out of this attack, then the knight's just going to go back safely, and my rook will be under attack again, and from the bishop, and I'll have to move it back. So I decided, you know what, I'll just go here, and then when it takes my rook, I will recapture. So that's what I did. They took my rook, I recaptured, but now I'm down a piece, right? And it didn't get better from there. I'm also down 4 points according to the evaluation, and it went worse because here's a check. I block, but the queen stays in the area, and even though I get a piece back, now boom, I'm in check again. There's not much I can do about it. I try to block, guarded backwards by this, but the bot's coming for me. That moves out of the way of this bishop. And sure enough, there we come. And it went on for about up until move 35, but I didn't do well in this game. But it was mainly because of that early mistake of blocking in my light squared bishop, which I need to move out so I can castle. And then we could have avoided the whole problem with the forking. The game in which I did the best was this one. Started with the London system, and we ended up in this fairly odd position in which I already have a huge advantage, 5 points, but I'm only up 1 pawn. Now, where my advantage came in was after the queen moved back here, I saw this is a free 9. Not completely free, but if I take it and they take back, I can give up my bishop for this check down here, and my rook will be pointing at the queen, which I would try against a player rated what I'm rated. And if they don't take, then I think I would have, then I would retract this bishop, which is hanging by this pawn. But anyway, I guess in hindsight, they could just take the bishop now. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what the engine is saying that the bot should have done. But instead, the bot took the knight, which was my plan. So I took the bishop down, gave it up, and then I get the queen for free. And here I'm up 12 points advantage, and I'm up a full queen. So the game went on from there, but it was mainly about maintaining that advantage and carefully protecting my pieces. I didn't always make the correct moves, but mainly I was trying to keep my pieces safe, not blunder my way out of this. Trade when possible because I'm up on material, and ended up finishing this game. So, as with the other bots, one thing we learned here is that if you play well, or at least solidly, not making any huge blunders or mistakes in the first 10 to 12 moves, then the bot will eventually make a mistake, as this one did here. When it should have captured my bishop, and then I guess I could have retaken the pawn, or I could have retracted the knight back to safety. For example, if it did take my bishop, the engine is recommending me pulling my knight back to reattack the queen. It's also saying this is fine, taking the pawn, because this rook is guarded and they have no dark squared bishop to attack it. Here the queen would come down in this way, it says. But either way, I would still have the advantage. But anyway, so just play solidly, try not to blunder away pieces, and then the bot will eventually make a mistake. All right, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.